Welcome to the Kendra Woods Show. I'm Kendra Woods, and this is a space for high-achieving women navigating success, self-doubt, and the pressure that often lives beneath it. On this show, we explore the hidden patterns that shape how you lead your life, make decisions, and relate to success. Because success isn't just what you build, it's how you lead yourself. And here, we learn to lead ourselves well. Welcome back to the Kendra Woods Show. This is where we dismantle high-functioning self-doubt and high-achieving women, and we replace it with something far more powerful: calm authority, self-leadership, and success that actually holds. So if you've built success, but you still feel the pressure underneath it, the questioning, the urgency, the mental noise, then you are in the right place. This is the Redefining Success movement, where we trade hustle for alignment, force for leadership, and external validation for internal steadiness. All right, so before we dive into our conversation today, if this episode speaks to you, Lead Like Her is where we take this work so much deeper. It is a 6-week experience for the woman who's ready to lead herself differently, internally, emotionally, and inside of her business or career. You can DM me the word lead on Instagram. I'm at the Kendra Woods. You can Instagram me, message me there for details. Okay, so let's get into our topic today. I want to start with something that I think is incredibly simple, but it's also really revealing. So today, I went to the gym today, and I had a moment before I went in. Today was my leg day, and I had a moment before I went in where I was really feeling some resistance. And I knew that I was going to get my workout done. I knew I was going to go in and do it, but I could feel my mind resisting. I could feel my mind wanting to create stories. And in that moment, I stopped myself and again reminded myself of the identity that I'm moving from. I'm moving from the identity of a woman who moves her body daily, the identity of a woman who is strong in her body, who lifts weights 2 to 3 times a week, who takes absolute pristine care of herself. And I said, okay, enough looping, let's go, right? Let's get moving. And in that moment, one thing I recognize too is, and I've said this before, is that when we move from identity, we're not necessarily overriding our emotions or like not giving our emotions space. You're not paying attention to how you're feeling. But when you move from identity, how you feel in that moment becomes irrelevant because it's not tied to the identity that you're stepping into. And then once I got in the gym and I started working out, I've been lifting weights now I started lifting weights back in October of 2024, I believe. And I lifted weights all through not all through 2025. I lifted for a while, then I would take a break and just focus on cardio and things like that. And then I got back to it. And since we've moved here to Italy, I said, okay, like now we're settled. Let me get back into my routine of lifting. And so for the past couple of months, I have been intentionally lifting weights at the gym. And as I was lifting today, I had this realization because the results that I want, they're not fully visible yet. Now, mind you, I can tell that I'm getting stronger because I'm increasing my reps, I'm increasing my weight. I can see the subtle changes and shifts and toning in my body. But mostly, a lot of what's happening right now is internally. So, yes, my body is changing in like little micro changes. Muscle is building. My strength is increasing. But externally, it's very subtle. And I caught this thought moving through my head today. This isn't working fast enough. And that's when it clicked for me because this is the exact pattern that high achieving women move through in business as well. And when I had that thought, I was like, this is interesting because I've seen this come up before in the women that I work with. I've seen it come up before in myself. And so I thought, you know what, we're going to talk about this because there are phases to your becoming. There are phases to shifting your identity. And I don't care what level you're at in your career or business, you're going to move through all these phases. And I'm going to talk about what those phases are in a little bit. But here's the pattern. The pattern is you start something new, you show up, you execute, you do the work. And then what do? You start looking for evidence. And you start looking for that evidence to start showing up fast and quick. And when it's not there yet, you start questioning everything. Is this working? Am I doing the right thing? Should I pivot? And without even realizing it, you interrupt the process that creates the end result that you're looking for. Now, this is high functioning self doubt. This is what this looks like. It doesn't look like stopping, it looks like overthinking, tweaking and refining constantly, quietly losing momentum, starting strong, and then emotionally pulling back. It's subtle, it's intelligent, and it feels responsible, but it keeps you from ever really fully compounding. And so this happens because you've been conditioned to believe that results equal safety, that results mean I'm doing it right. I'm not wasting time. I can trust this. So when the results lag, your nervous system can read it as, uh-oh, something is wrong. And you try to fix it fast. You're looking for the next, like, how can I fix this? But here's the reframe. Here's the truth. You don't get results from intensity. You get results from accumulated, aligned repetition. Let that land for a minute. You don't get results from intensity. You get results from accumulated, aligned repetition. One workout doesn't change your body, but repeated, aligned workouts, that's transformation, right? And it's the same thing in your business. One new offer doesn't really change your business. One podcast episode that you put out doesn't really change your business, right? It is the accumulated, aligned repetition of the actions that are going to help you build the results that you desire. It's doing that over and over and over and over and over again. But doing it from a place where you are grounded, where you are aligned, where you're internally stable and you're holding yourself. So let's talk about the phases because this is where I want to give you a framework because every result that you desire, it moves through phases. And if you don't understand the phase you're in, you will quit too early. And that's not what we want. So let's talk about the phases of becoming. The first phase is that spark, that initiation. Your energy is high, clarity feels strong, motivation is carrying you. It's the this is it kind of energy that you feel buzzing in your body. And in this phase, you don't need discipline yet because you're fueled by vision. And this is the phase that us like ambitious and creative entrepreneurs and career women, this is the phase right here that we love. It is intoxicating, right? It is so intoxicating. Now, the next phase two, is the invisible phase. This is where the dissonance shows up. So you're showing up, but results don't match the effort yet. And this creates tension. You begin to feel uncertainty, urgency, maybe a little bit of doubt creeping in. Your identity is shifting. However, your reality hasn't caught up. And this phase right here is where most women leave. They drop their power. They start looking at, oh, maybe I need to look at another strategy. They quietly kind of leak their energy in this phase right here. But this phase, the invisible phase, is like the most important phase that will determine the outcome, that will determine the results. But this is where most women drop their power. Now, the phase after this, phase three, is stabilization. And this is where you really tap into your internal power. And so if you stay and you move through phase two, you begin to change internally. Like you feel it, something clicks. You're more grounded. You are more decisive. You're less reactive. You're more self trusting. The evidence isn't external yet. However, it's who you are becoming. In this phase, like you know, you're like, oh, okay, yes, I am becoming this woman who follows through and gets the results and who trusts herself and who is not easily distracted and who keeps moving. Phase three, the stabilization phase, is where your internal power really gets exercised. All right. And then we move to phase four. And this is the evidence phase, the phase that we have been wanting and looking for. This is where external results begin to show up. Phase four, results arrive. But the thing about this phase is the results are not sudden. They're the result of everything that you have sustained in silence. So when we look out into the world and we see someone who all of a sudden looks like they have created this overnight success, that's not truly accurate, because what we have not seen is how they sustained themselves in the silence for years before they even got the results that we are now seeing externally. Okay. Now, let's go a little bit deeper, because you might be thinking, Kendra, this is for beginners. This is not for me. But here's the truth I want to tell you. High achieving women don't skip these phases. They simply experience them at higher levels. That's it. Okay. And as a high achieving woman who's used to getting results and creating success for yourself, externally, you're fine. Okay. You're still showing up. You're still producing. You're still leading. You're still doing the damn thing. Okay. But internally, it sounds like this should be working faster. I've done this before. Like, why does this feel so hard? Maybe I'm missing something. And the one that you don't say out loud is, what if this doesn't work this time? So then what do? You don't stop. You override. You add more effort. You increase the intensity. You optimize everything. You look for the missing piece. You think, certainly there's got to be a strategy that I can use to help me go from here to there. Like you start trying to pull together all of these tools and strategies. Essentially, you try to outperform the discomfort. But that energy right there, that overriding energy, actually pulls you out of alignment. And you start shifting direction. You start breaking consistency. You start interrupting the compounding that was happening. And this is not dramatic. This is very subtle. And this is why results stall. So now you're here, externally successful, but internally not steady. And you don't say it out loud because you think, I shouldn't feel this way at this level. Shame starts to creep in because you're like, oh, look at all that I have built. Like, certainly I should not be feeling this way at this level. Because when you were at earlier levels of your career in your business, you thought that once you got to where you are now, that you would never doubt yourself again, that you would never break consistency, that you would never like shift your direction. You're going to be like so certain of yourself and so trusting of yourself. And the thing is that we fail to realize is every new level that you reach, you are going to go through these phases. You're just going to go through them on a higher level. And the way that you hold yourself back, the way that you get in your way is going to look a little bit more sophisticated as you mature and grow in your career and business. And so if we are not clued in and aware of the sophisticated ways in which we can get in our way, then what happens is you fall into this pattern of high functioning self-doubt. And I call it that for a reason, because you're still functioning, you're still showing up. However, there's this energy within that is still kind of doubtful, that still questions. So here's what the real upgrade is and the real shift from this is. You go from, I know how to get results, to I know how to hold myself while results are being built. Do you feel that difference? Do you feel that? You go from, I know how to get results, to I know how to hold myself while results are being built. This is the upgrade that we are stepping into. That is leadership. And here's the core skill that gets to be developed. The skill is this: can you stay without needing immediate evidence? Can you keep moving? Can you keep trusting? Can you keep leading? Can you maintain your inner stability? Can you maintain an emotional state that is regulated and grounded? Can you still do that while what you are working for is still invisible? So, like I said earlier, most of us love the spark. We love phase one. Everyone wants the evidence, but very few people master the invisible phase. And honestly, like that is where everything is decided, is in that phase. This is exactly what we build inside of Lead Like Her. We are not just focused on strategy, right? You have all the strategy in the world. Like you can find that anywhere and everywhere. But what we do inside of Lead Like Her is we build internal steadiness. We build emotional leadership. We build identity that's rooted in movement. And ultimately, we are building calm authority. So you can keep showing up without constantly questioning yourself, without that energy of constantly questioning yourself. Okay. So if you're ready for that, I want you to DM me the word lead on Instagram. Again, I'm at the Kendra Woods. Send me a message, just send me the word lead, and I'll send you the details. Okay. So here's what I want you to know. You are not behind. You know this, right? You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You are simply in the phase where it's becoming. And your sole job is to stay. It's to stay with yourself in that invisible phase. And it's to lead yourself with integrity. It is to lead yourself from the identity with which you want to step into. That's your job. All right. Until next time, lead yourself well.